Hi, folks, and welcome to my top 200 games of all time. We are on number 170. Let's do this here. Number 170 is a game I've been collecting every promo for that I could find. Genotype. Genotype, you're basically growing little peapod plants. Very tight worker placement, as you only got a few of these little space shovels to put around the game. You got to be a good balance of making sure you get the right cards that can help you out. Of course, getting the right, I can't remember what it's called, the cross-breeding plants to get the right pea pods you need to grow your pea pod plant. But then something that everyone forgets, and I never do, which is why I'm really good at this game, is you need to also put some places where you can get some in-game scoring. Because if you don't do that, you may lose, even though you created the most pea pod plants and maybe got some good victory points out of it. Those in-game points can really win games for you, which is always come in handy. I barely win each time because everyone's really good at collecting and building and completing those pea plant cards, but I always ensure that I have at least one or two of those in-game points. And at the end of the game, they go, "Oh, I forgot to do that," because it's so tight. You only have a certain amount of space you can put out there, so you really want to conserve. You do your actions to get the maximum benefit. And I this year I tracked a lot of promos down for some of the games I have and like mini expansions. That's what I spent most of my money on. Stuff getting new games, just trying to get those completest things. And some of these cards, I thought, do I really need these? And each time I got one in, I was like, "Oh yeah, I dig this." And so we played. When we finally got the last expansion one, promo card in, I played it with my team, and as those cards came out, they go, "Whoa, what's that?" Because the promo cards are what I think a promo card should be, a little bit more powerful in the game. Like, those were really good cards. And so I just love it. I love the game. I think the artwork's beautiful. You can get this game for pretty cheap. It's for cheap. You don't need all the little promo cards. I mean, you can have fun with just a base game, but just a wonderful little tight little in a way worker placement game that is just way underrated. Genotype, my number 170. Man, you speak about underrated. Victorian Masterminds was a game that I got. This is the second year. It did not. A lot of games I make a joke about. They suffer a sophomore slump, meaning they started on my list at this, and then they always go down because they always get old. This is a game that actually went up its second year, and I'm so impressed. It's got a steampunk theme, which I hate. I hate steampunk. I only got this game to get free shipping on an order because I wanted all the other games. And now, true story, 2 of those games from that original order are gone from my collection. And this game is one of the other 2 that's left in my collection since then. I think I got 4 games total. I can't remember, 4 or 5 games. Either way, this is one of the 2 I think that survived, which is really weird for me because I got it just to get that free shipping, cross that free shipping threshold. I see this game for super cheap, $5-10 sometimes. It's totally worth it. It's a $25 game. At a deal, it'd be $25. But you are placing these like little great plastic hard disc face down that can do certain actions or screw other players. There's one that can screw other players. You never know what it is. But when a stack hits 2, I think it's like 4, then it activates and you do all the actions there in that order. And of course, you're just gathering resources to kind of take over buildings, to get victory points, to get to build your little super ship, to get extra resources and stuff. Man, from top to bottom, this is just such a great game. I remember someone in my game group was playing this and they went, "I have to buy this." And they have a copy too. So even with this, and it only came out once because now that they have a copy, they don't want to play this anymore at my house. They can play it all the time at their house. I don't blame them because it's just a fantastic game. And this is another one that gets, like I said, discounted heavily. No one gives it the time of day, and you really should, even if you don't like the steampunk theme like I do. I was shocked that I love this game so much, and that's moving up on my list means it's definitely a keeper. All right, another game that's experiencing a sophomore bump instead of slump would be the Dwarves. I got the big box here. This is a co-op game that only myself and I have 2 other gamers in my game group that love this game. And this is like their number 1 game to get on their list. When they got married this year, this was on their wedding register. No one knew what it was. It was a board game, so they didn't get it. But the thing is, though, they put it on their wedding gift register because they really want this game. It's a great little co-op game. We're trying to defend the realm against, I don't remember, it's orcs, goblins, and trolls or whatnot, something like that. Well, all the while trying to complete certain quests to win the round. And it tells basically a story. Now, I'm not familiar with this off a book series from Germany or whatever, but I got the 2 little character packs which were their empty spaces in the big box for them. So I guess you had to get them separately. So I got them separately because Miniature Market had them slashed down to $5. And now we can play with any of them. And we beat the first 2 levels. And we're playing at the hardest one. So it is kind of hard to beat these. We had to play the first game. We got so lucky and won to win that one. The second one, we played a few more times and we finally beat that one. So now we're on the 3rd story or whatnot. And each game, it's just going to change it just differently, change the objectives, change the goals, put in new pieces and new ways to play the game. And so I just find it so interesting. And it's fun. It's enjoyable. This is one of those few co-op games that some in my board game group don't mind playing. They really do love this game. So Dwarves Big Box, I think you can still get for a pretty good deal. And yeah, check it out, especially if you like co-ops. This is actually a really fun one. My number 167 was 167 last year. Now, that's kind of rare that these games, I don't look at last year's list when I make this year's list. So it's kind of funny. It went even there. Formula E, which someone last night in my gaming group said this was his favorite game in my collection. He said, I absolutely love this game. So we may be playing it later on. Well, by the time this video comes out, we've probably already played it again for him. And whenever we play this, we play 4 games in one night because the game is really slick. It's a racing game where you're racing with elements, playing cards out of your hand to move obstacles in other people's way or to, give you an advantage on how you can move that round. And there's 4 different tracks. I have a little expansion that came with the Kickstarter. Unfortunately, this game has no reprint, and it's very hard to find. I don't know how expensive it is, but if you can find a copy of it, pick it up. It's a really fun elephant racing game. I remember a few years back, the designer commented on my video and said, yeah, we're bringing it back for a Kickstarter coming soon. That was like 4 years ago. It's not coming back anytime soon, sadly. But Formula E is a really, really fun elephant racing game you should check out. My number 166 is Sultania. It's right up here. Can you see it? Yeah, there it is. Sultania. Really good game. Great production value. The artwork looks awesome. It's a tile placement game. I don't really like tile placement, but you're placing tiles trying to build the 4 levels, I think, of your palace. Each player board scores differently. There's so many different ways to score. Palm trees or bushes or windows or I can't remember, like arcs or little mini spiral towers and stuff or little big golden towers. Not everyone has the same ways to score. And sometimes it bleeds over. If you're playing 4 players, and some people have the same thing that scores. But that's so neat because you're all going for different types of tiles and some of the same. And you're trying to build this perfect thing. And you want to get gems too, because gems you can give to the genies who can, depending on what genie you can use. And the molds for these genies look beautiful too. But you are trying to get bonus actions through the genies. There's even some in-game points that are secret to everyone but you. And you can probably score those extra points in the game. It is a superb game. This is one that I'm really shocked isn't more popular and spoken about. But again, games that fly under the radar, man, that is my jam. That is my jam. And this one is just awesome. I still enjoy this one. Sadly, it doesn't come out as much, which is probably why it's still not my top 100. But really good, really solid game. All right, number 165. Rado from Rado Runs Through said this is one of the most underrated games. He did I think he did a top 5 most underrated games, and I bought like maybe 2 or 3 of them. I was like, oh, that does look underrated. This one is Milestones. Milestones is very underrated. The whole player board is just one giant rondelle. You can move as far around as you want, but you can't move back. And you must always stop at the end action, which basically is taxes for the king, but mainly they don't want you hoarding resources then making a big move, because if they didn't have it there, that's what everyone would do. So you can't hoard your resources. You got to spend what you can. And boy, howdy, the amount of workers you get, the type of workers you get, the type of resources you convert it to, and you can always build on someone else's success. So you're building these stone walls. So maybe someone built stone walls and they built it really far, got a lot of big points. But it's okay, because now they led you to further milestones that can get you more points. Or maybe they left you with milestones that have low points. Boo. That's okay. Build houses next to the walls and score some big victory points. Or maybe they were building meals for extra victory points. Well, now put flour on those meals and then score some other big victory points. There's always ways to capitalize on the next person. You can make more points, but then you're giving points to that person. It's given, if they're smart, you can really use those other turns against the other players to score more points. And before you know it, the game's over like that. And you're like, oh no, because it's a very long board. I've never seen anyone get to the end of it because there's just so much to do in so little time. Really, I agree with Rado. It's just an underrated game. You can get this game for a song online, and you should definitely pick up a copy. Milestones is excellent. 164, you talk about underrated games. Master Builder. Master Builder is probably one of the ugliest games in my collection. I hate the artwork there, but they got these 3D houses and towers and walls that you're slowly building. And by the end of the game, you've got this great looking 3D city. I mean, it's not always complete because you never complete it. We do have a house rule though. The game ends after a certain amount of rounds, but in our games, we say, hey, the game ends when one player can't build anything, because we still want to build and finish some of our projects, because even then the city won't be complete because no one's ever finished on the same round. So once someone can't score any points, that's when we end it. And that's just a sign of a good game there. Now, it's funny, Master Builder it's been in my top 100, then it falls way out. Then it comes back in and falls. Every year it's zigzag. Last year it's outside my top 100. I thought, okay, it's okay. It's going to bounce back in. And this year it actually went the opposite direction. I don't know why. But whenever I bring this out, my whole gaming group gets excited. It is kind of a bummer because every event is so bad. And it's usually going to impact you. Sometimes it doesn't. So even though you hire these workers, you're going to be spending tons of money. You're going to be flat broke. But when you build that building, you're going to get tons of money. You're going to be rich again. and then it's going to have a brand new low as you are slowly having issue after issue building the next building that you put out a contract for. You're like, oh man, this is sinking me. It's sinking my funds. I can't do this anymore. The game has some great highs and lows, and it's just excellent. You can pick up copies of this one for super cheap. Again, this is another highly, highly underrated game. A game that is not underrated, that everyone loves, and I have a love-hate relationship with it as well. It is Wingspan. Now, I love Wingspan. Let me get that out of the way. I just bought the nesting box, which I didn't think I'd want to pay $75 for a stupid empty box, but it is a really, really pretty box. It is a beautiful box. And I got it for a trade, I think. And I'm looking at it up here. It's at the top of my shelf here. The nesting box is really nice. It's a really nice box. Keeps all your expansions in there. The problem I have with Wingspan is every time I buy something from them, I feel like I'm buying from a sleazy car man. I hated that and I do believe they really short printed their first run to make it keep it in the hotness for so long. I had a problem with their latest expansion, Asia, which should have just been a deck of cards. That's all it should have been. But they're like, new duet mode. We already had a 2-player mode. We already had a solo mode, and you're trying to sell it again. And then you're adding, oh, now you can play with 7 players now. Why would I ever play with 7 players? And then we have this dial, which is a new way to play with 7 players that doesn't slow the game down. Good, I appreciate that. But again, why would I play 7 players with this game? Was there someone asking for a 7th player? No. What they wanted to put as much junk in the box so they could up the price and sell you a big expansion game instead of just an expansion pack, because that's really all you need is a pack of cards. Now, on their website or back before, they had these larger print cards. So if you get the base game, just go out there and just buy all the larger print cards. Do not buy the Asia expansion. It's not worth it. Just buy the back pack of cards for it. That's really all they should have sold us. But then they're like, oh, well, if that's okay, we're going to charge them like $15. We want to charge them, $40. So we need to throw all this junk in there. It's just junk. There was just junk in there. So it's so aggravating because I love the game. I love this game. I love the game. Absolutely love this game. In fact, this guy who is he is a bird, whatever they're called. And he's a friend of mine, and he has the game. He said, but it sounded too confusing. I said, dude, I'll come over and play it with you. You'll love it. And but it's very, like I said, it's very educational, and I love the artwork. My gaming group, who has a copy of this game, will play it with me whenever I bring it out because they love the game too. And I have a lot blinged out this game as well. So I do love it, but Asia made me so mad. It made me so. And then that, even though I traded for it, why is a nesting box that costs more than most board games out there? Why? Just love-hate relate. I love the game, and I hate the way they market this game and just string you along, try to squeeze every dollar they can out of you. And they just seem ruthless. So that's probably the reason this thing dropped a little bit. I may have been a little too harsh. I didn't look at what I did last year. I can't remember. But man, I remember I was running off some heat off Asia. But Wingspan's great. Believe the hype. It is a good game. Hey, you know what it's time for? It's time to talk about Queen Games again. Folks, this is Copenhagen. Woo! Now, notice they have something else very similar to this called Helsinki. In fact, I don't even know what the difference. It doesn't seem that big. There's a big difference between these games. But in Copenhagen, you're playing these cards, gathering little Tetris pieces and putting them on your board, trying to complete horizontal rows that gives you bonuses in the game, or vertical, which can give you some nice victory points. It's the first one to like 12 points wins. You're thinking, oh, is it a quick game? No. Usually the deck runs out before you can get to 12, but we did have someone hit 12 just recently. So it's hard to score victory points in the game. But, well, now I know why I got to 12, because I finally was able to get I have the deluxe edition of this, and they finally came out with the Queenies. You can buy the Queenies in their Queen Game Store, and I bought the Queenies like a year or so ago, and we've been playing with the Queenies now, and it makes it, it's just more pieces, different shapes and sizes that can really help you in building your building up and out. And so because of that, because some cards get kind of worthless after a while because all the big pieces are gone, and you really need a big piece. Well, these like halvesy tiles are 2 different colors. So you can pay I think you can pay a mix of both colors to get it. And I really like that because they make them more attainable. And it's just extra pieces that you won't be stuck with just like little pieces at the last round or so, which is what everyone has to do because you can't cover that much ground. Now you can still cover ground with more bigger pieces in the game and probably get to those scores a little bit faster than how the game usually ends, is when the deck runs out, but which can be very quick. Really fun, really simple game. You should check it out. Copenhagen, really awesome. All right, finally, number 161. When I played this game, I thought it was going to be the next new hotness, and I was going to be the first person to review it. And as I finished editing it and was going to hit published, Tom Vassell published his review of Cupcake Empire. And no one cared. No one loved this game. The artwork's beautiful. The theme is beautiful. I love the theme. I love the theme that the town dresses up as the cupcake like they want. If they like chocolate, then they have black pants on. If they like a vanilla base, then they have brown pants on, because they like vanilla. And whatever topping they love on it, be mint, lemon, strawberry. There's another one I can't remember right now, but whatever, or chocolate, they're wearing that same color shirt, which is kind of ridiculous, but I love it. And so you're going around the board, you're rolling dice, and however many dice are in that section is the power of that action you can take. You're putting together cupcakes, you're building buildings, you're selling to customers, and you're just making as much money and trying to get your production up too. It's just a phenomenal game that no one ever talks about. Those dice, I don't know what they're made of, but they are super nice. They're super nice dice too. But I was positive. I had just got, because I had to order this game overseas. It wasn't in America yet. And I thought, well, I'm going to be the first person. But I guess Tom Bassel got an advanced copy from Europe, and he reviewed it. And I swear, the video was rendering, and then a notification popped up, and Tom Bassel was reviewing the game. I was like, no! I almost was the first one to review it. But either way, I love this game. My sister has a bakery, and she didn't play board games with me, but I think I could convince her to do this one. If I taught her it, I think she would really love this game because, for anyone who's wanting to run a bakery, it's a lot of fun. It's a cute theme. Here I am saying cute, but it is a lot of fun. And this game just does not get the love it deserves. But anyway, that's for another video maybe. All right, folks, that's it for now. I will see you next time with 10 more games ranked in my collection. See you then.